A federal judge says accused Russian agent Maria Butina must stay in jail until her trial. The 29-year-old pleaded not guilty to charges of conspiracy and acting as a foreign agent. Prosecutors say Butina contacted Russian operatives while in the U.S. and posed as a gun rights activist to gain access to conservative politicians. CBS News Washington correspondent Paula Reid has more.
I'm a representative of Russian Federation here.
29-year-old Maria Butina, seen here in a sexy GQ photo shoot, certainly looks the part of a Russian spy. Butina came here on a student visa in 2016, but the Justice Department alleges she took steps to develop relationships with American politicians in order to advance the interests of the Russian Federation. Photos show her with NRA CEO Wayne LaPierre and Republican Governor Scott Walker.
We meet people, they introduce themselves, often they ask for a picture, and that's not a meeting.
She sent this photo of herself near the Capitol during Mr. Trump's inauguration to a Russian official, who responded calling her a, quote, daredevil girl. She also tried, unsuccessfully, to arrange a meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. But she did manage to get in a question about sanctions to then candidate Trump at Freedom Fest in 2015.
Do you want to continue the politics of sanctions?
I believe I would get along very nicely with Putin.
Investigators allege Butina had an ongoing relationship with a 56-year-old political operative strictly for business purposes, and was likely in contact with Russia's FSB intelligence agency throughout her time in the U.S. Eric O'Neill is a former counterintelligence operative with the FBI.
A spy will do whatever they can to get that information. And if they got to sleep with someone to do it, they'll do it.
Well, Paula Reid joins me now from just outside the U.S. District Court in Washington. Paula, how have Russian officials responded to Butina's arrest?
Well, they're saying this is all part of an effort to damage U.S.-Russia relations. They say that the fact that this indictment was unsealed against her just hours after the Helsinki summit, they say that was all part of an effort to pour cold water on the success of that summit. Later today, embassy officials plan to visit her in prison.
So what more do we know about why she was arrested on Sunday? As I understand it, they were watching her for a long time.
That's right. They have been watching her since they noticed she was making so many contacts with conservative leaders. But they say they moved in to arrest her after the FBI said it saw signs that she was possibly planning to flee the country. They said, look, she was packing up her apartment. She told her landlord that her lease would be ending at the end of the month. And then she wired $3,500 to a Russian bank account. And they said that was enough for them to move in and make the arrest.
And so what are we hearing from her attorneys? What's their response so far?
Her attorney denies these allegations. He said, look, she's a student. She is here on a student visa at American University. He points out that she has a 4.0 GPA and that this is all totally blown out of proportion. But he does acknowledge that the FBI raided her apartment back in April. But he said that helps his case. He said, look, the FBI raided her apartment. If she had something to hide, she would have fled the country by now, which is why he's trying to get his client out of jail while she awaits what happens with these charges, either a trial or a plea deal.
Okay, so the NRA was a major donor to the president's campaign, and we now have this charge that a Russian agent had ties to the NRA. Could this possibly develop into part of that collusion case against the president, or is it completely separate?
Well, for right now, it's separate. This was not the special counsel that charged Ms. Butina. It was the Justice Department. And in terms of the NRA, experts tell us that the NRA is an easy target for Russian operatives because it only costs $35 to join. Anyone can join the NRA. And as part of that organization, then you can develop contacts with others in conservative circles. And according to court documents, Butina believed Republicans would win the election, and she thought this would be a valuable place to go and make connections. It's much easier to join than perhaps like a bar association or a medical association. So experts tell us that this is classic Russian tradecraft, and she specifically targeted the NRA because it was an opportunity, a door opened to meeting conservative contacts who could then introduce her to even more high-profile conservatives. So at this point, the NRA just accepted her $35 check as it would anyone else's, and they are not accused of any sort of overt wrongdoing or anything to do with the investigation into possible collusion.
So that was her only connection to the NRA as an enthusiastic member, let's say?
Yes, and that may even be an understatement. In fact, she was pursuing and pushing a similar NRA-type organization in Russia. There are some videos out there, I think we used some in the piece, of her sort of talking about being a pro-gun rights advocate. And there are some people who say that, some of the things that the NRA stands for, certainly there are people in Russia who stand for the same thing. So it's easy for her to sort of, put forth this cover as a gun rights enthusiast as part of an effort to get in the NRA to make those contacts that she is allegedly was trying to make in an effort to influence U.S. policy.
Boy, this story is so interesting. I can't wait to continue talking to you about it as we get more and more details about the case. Paula Reid, thank you so much.
Thank you.